An unreleased NES game has just been saved, preserved, and then released to the public, and that NES game is SimCity. This game, from the look of it, looks way better than almost any NES game that has been put out, and honestly, it looks like it's going to be a good SimCity game, which happens to be what it is called. It is SimCity. Now, this was worked on for the NES, and it has some great music. So, SimCity was worked on between the NES and the SNES, and it was slotted to be due out to the public for the NES and the SNES. However, when it was finally released, they decided that they didn't want to put it on the NES, and they wanted to put it just on the SNES. Now, the difference is the NES version had different music and worked a little bit differently, which is pretty interesting considering they put all this effort into it and it never made it to store shelves, which is crazy to think that there are still NES games that were made back in the late 80s, early 90s that never even made it to stores, and people are finding them in 2018 and saving them. So now I know it is 2019 now, but these games are very awesome, and I'm so thankful that they have been saved and been able to be played. Now, the soundtrack, from what I've heard, is very good for an NES console to be playing this kind of music. Is super awesome. It sounds really good, and I believe there's only one track that is shared between the NES and the SNES version, which means they put a lot of work into the NES version, which is pretty impressive because honestly, they knew that they were working on the NES and the SNES, and the SNES was going to be the new hotness, but they still put a ton of work in the NES, which is why this version is so cool. So apparently there are 2 NES SimCity prototype cartridges, and from what I've heard is they were almost both sold to one collector who was just gonna keep them for himself and never let anyone else play them. However, for some reason he was not able to buy that, and the game got in the right hands, which means that this game has now been released, and honestly, it's no longer hidden from people, which is something that is very great because games are meant to be played, not stuck in a closet or a safe away from people. Now, I want to say thank you to the Video Game History Foundation, which uploaded this game on Christmas, which is such a great gift. If you are an NES fan and you are even more a SimCity fan, this is a cool thing to happen because not often do we have NES games go for 20 years without being seen or touched or played. And now here we have a new one, which is such a kind of unique kind of version of the game that it is, which is really awesome. The even cooler thing about SimCity on the NES is that when it was found, it was almost completed and virtually bug-free, which is something that was crazy because a game that was this close to being done but then was scrapped, honestly, to find a prototype that was almost done and so pretty much completed is so cool. So I wanted to let you guys know that, hey, it's 2018, or well, it was 2018, it's 2019 now, but games are still being found for the NES, which is insane. With that being said, I want you guys to comment down below and let me know, have you heard about this game before, or is this the first time you are hearing it? Because this is news to me, and on the NES, I am a big fan. Obviously, I've got some games behind me that are NES games, but honestly, I found this and I was super stoked about it. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you're interested, hit up all the social media links down below. And also, I want to say don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you can watch my videos when they go up. With that being said, make sure you have a good day.